All right, so when I was younger, there was this test I saw online. It was called the Yale Child Study. Basically, it was four kids in a circle, and the teachers were supposed to point out which kid was doing something wrong. And even though in the actual test, the kids were doing nothing wrong, the teachers kept pointing to the same child. Of course, this test teaches us about discrimination, but I also think it teaches us about expectations and projection. When we expect or want to see certain behaviors, our biases triple in reality. Another example is the red car theory or the gorilla and basketball video. These things teach us about selective attention. The point is, when you actively select what to look for in another person, you often find it more times than not. And when you think that you should expect this from them, you push them to become the person that you've automatically created in your head. When you are young, you're not aware that this is happening to you or that you're probably doing it to other people. I think that parents, teachers, and peers have a special ability to project insecurities onto you, which can in turn create your self-identity. I'm going to say that again. Projection can create your self-identity. All right, let's imagine a scenario. My fourth grade teacher expects more from me, and in return, I do more. I want to impress her and get good grades. This is, according to Google, called the Pygmalion effect. So I guess it's a good thing, right? You become a better student because of one teacher that changed your life. And I could imagine what type of person you would become if this type of person was your parent. But what about the opposite effect? What happens when you expect negative things from a person, place, or thing? Okay. So let me track back. What does this expectation have to do with bullying? Well, I think that bullying is just projection. It's negative projection that comes from lack of self-esteem. I'm not just talking about the stereotypical bully from school. I'm talking about projection from adults too. Projections are beliefs that motivates your behavior towards another person. So I think that if you were a child and you were surrounded by people that had negative beliefs about themselves, they would just automatically project it onto you, and you were more likely to assume that the entire world is like this. The negative projections become a part of your reality, and you start to unconsciously act that out. So my kind of summary or my question is, what if past bullies, big or small, are the reasons why you see reality the way you do today? I don't know. I wasn't significantly bullied in school, but being isolated sometimes created this anxious feeling within me. And I wonder if that has a longer term effect, not only on me, but other kids out there too. Certain things happen to you and you just feel anxious or depressed your entire life, and you might not even know the root cause of these things. But if you're not careful, you'll start to project that onto others. This is how I explain reality in my You'll Always Be a Dork video. I think bullying or negative projections from teachers and parents create your interpretation on how the world works. And then eventually you start to just download that information, the terms and condition of your life, which are basically the expectations you give yourself. And then you're just the same program as before. You are the product of your environment. If most people expect negative things from you, you'll start to subconsciously do negative things. If people expect good things from you, you'll exist in a halo effect. I didn't make this video to promote bullying. I think I'm trying to let you see your shadow side because maybe you can fix it, or at the very least, become aware of it. The people in and out of your life can change the way you see reality. And most people who are in this self-help space right now have a screwed version of what reality actually can be. You are projecting all of those insecurities from the past into the present. You're creating the same story, the same game, the same program. And, since I'm not a therapist or a psychologist, I would go ahead and say ignore the root of the pain, ignore the past because you can't go back, which is probably not the best advice. But instead, you got to figure out what you're projecting now. For a while I was digging into this self-help stuff, I was so focused on watching these videos to get inspired to become someone different. But the main reason why I was doing this was because I was depressed. I hated myself and I had no self-esteem. I wanted more friends and more money. Projection comes from a lack of control. Typically, this stems from the lack of control you may have had as a child. You want to determine someone's emotions, their future, how they'll treat you. You want respect, but that control is manipulation. A lot of manipulation comes from wanting control rather than anything else. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I am saying I understand where these things come from. And once you can understand it, you can negate it. To put it simply, if you have a deep problem with someone, anyone in your life, you are probably projecting some type of insecurity onto them, some type of rule that someone gave you. I will say that there are some people who are just terrible. Some people in your life that act completely out of character. But I think coming to terms with accepting these people and trying to find some underlying lesson to go with it is probably best for your mental health. The reason why this person is probably triggering you is because you went through some type of trauma or lesson that told you that this specific behavior that they're doing is bad. You start to expect bad things that have happened to you to happen again because this person is just in the vicinity. Eventually, you can try to teach them what you know about life. You try to guide them or be their monk, but you start to project that inner feeling onto them, that feeling you got when you were bullied, and you may become a bully because of it. It's not fair to talk about how people can project their insecurities or beliefs on you. You have to take a step back from the victim seat and see how you may be doing this to other people. You can be projecting your insecurities onto others because you were expecting negative emotions from their behavior. When you're young, your brain develops a pattern, a way of thinking, and it's constantly looking for clues in order to fulfill that pattern. Eventually, once you see a hint of that pattern, maybe it's a person that looks a certain way or talks a certain way or dresses a certain way, you project your negative expectations onto them, just like the Yale child study. This person is triggering you and you become a bully to damp that feeling of being triggered. Your expectations are faulty and the reality is the problem is you. I've come to learn when people are projecting their false thoughts about me. They look at me and they immediately make an automatic assumption about who I am, where I've been, and etc. And I've also learned when to step back when I feel like I'm projecting my beliefs onto other people. I think the tricky thing is the fine line between projecting and discernment. You can think that you're having discernment with another person. You can think that you're, reading in between the lines of their actual personality. And maybe for the most part you are. But maybe you're only looking at the worst parts of them. I have lost friends trying to project my belief system onto them. This made them resentful, even though they couldn't admit it. My self-help BS isn't for everyone, and I think I'm projecting perfection onto others as a way to control their behavior or personality. But I'm doing it, in my opinion, out of a best intention. I want to see people in my life become better, but in return, I'm not accepting them from who they are or what they can offer. And I think isolation and a little bit of teasing made me view reality this way. That if only I can help others the way I've helped myself, then we can get out of this stage in our life. But I have to understand that I'm selectively only looking at the bad parts of someone, the same way someone has looked at the bad parts of me. There are so many things we want in our life. A hot partner, money, cars, freedom, happiness, but all of that comes with a cost. It comes with strategy, not from a lack of control, but momentum, luck, and discipline. And in the video, I just want people to know that being bullied can make you look at reality in a different way. Being socially rejected can create certain triggers in you and intense lingering emotions like anxiety or depression. You may not even know where these things come from because they're so encoded into you. You need elements of self-awareness so that you can change these patterns of behavior. But I think the most important part is to stop expecting these bad things to happen to you. You are continuously expecting life to be like the past. And you are either creating the past to try to subconsciously fix it, or you're in this weird limbo experiencing anxiety, waiting for turd to hit the fan. Stop projecting the past onto the present. Stop being a bully to your future. You don't have to be the bad guy.